SB 1380. What is that exactly?
That was a thing that Gavin Newsom was behind, and he is quoted as saying, clean and sober is the worst damn thing this country ever did. I don't know why he said that. This country...
He was probably drunk.
Well, he does have a history, and I grew up with him. He was the mayor of San Francisco. People don't know this. He had a pretty bad sex scandal where he slept with his campaign manager's wife and went to rehab.
Yep.
And he has it out for rehab. He hates rehab. He hates recovery. He does this SB 1380 thing in like 2014, 2015 when he's lieutenant governor. And it basically says any program that is getting any amount of state funding that's providing housing to homeless people on the contingency that they remain sober will no longer receive that state funding. So if they want to continue to receive that state funding, they have to cut the sobriety requirements.
Wow.
And it turned places like the Midnight Mission that I went to into like glorified, drug maintenance housing centers.
Wow.
And
what a disaster.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that.
I think he might be diabolical. I know people are like, don't be hard on him, but I really, or maybe the LA City Council. I'm not sure. They're just, he strikes me as someone who may be diabolical. Like he's
certainly diabolical. Yeah. I feel bad for him. I know that he's wanted to become president, and his chances have really dwindled in the last...
Why do you feel bad for him though?
Well, because he's like too good looking and too presidential looking to like not go for it, I guess. I don't,
No, this guy is like a puppet of, he's completely failed up. It's like completely. Every single place that this guy has gone has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Starting with your city. And then moved on to the great state of California, which is in shambles and has lost more people ever in its history. Yeah. California experienced nothing but growth until he basically became governor.
Yeah.
And so this guy who is just completely failed up somehow in politics, and he's constantly propped up because he has Getty money behind him.
Yeah, and Pelosi money.
And a lot of influence. And then you've got people running cover for him constantly. But like the stuff he pulled over COVID, lockdowns, dining at the French Laundry while everyone else was locked up, while people were ODing, while you couldn't go to a fucking AA meeting. Yeah. Like that is diabolical. And I don't use this word lightly, but evil. Like your kids are going to a private school, and the kids who are the most, that you allegedly care the most about, the kids that don't have access to iPads, don't have backyards, don't have Wi-Fi in some instances, are in abusive households. They're locked in and don't have school. You shut down the outdoor playground. Like I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for that guy.
No, you're right.
He's made a lot of fucking mistakes, and he should pay. And he's never been held accountable for any of them.
Yeah, well,
it makes me mad. Like, what happened to those kids? 4 million kids didn't log in during COVID.
Yeah.
And they're high-risk kids. These are at-risk youth. And they ended up in gang. Who knows where they ended up? Not to mention, when you look at how just having no literacy, if you can't read, you're more like your lifespan is cut by decades. Just losing the ability to read, it costs lives.
Yeah, certainly. I'll never forgive him for the COVID policies that he enacted. And I can't tell you how many of my friends died during COVID.
Me too.
Not from COVID, but from like, he outlawed, police were coming to the park to break up AA meetings.
People were... Yeah. We lost so many people. It was actually, I can't even talk. It makes me emotional thinking about how many people I heard, like, it'd be like, where'd she go? And it's like, OD. When we, I can't even, like, and the bars were open, and you couldn't go to church, or you couldn't do this stuff is psychotic. It is not, you took away people's life raft and then expected them, and yet you could still like go to a restaurant because they were your buddies, and I don't know. I have very little, any kind of real, none of these people have been held accountable for any of this. Yeah. And it was horrific for people in recovery in particular.
Yeah. Well, he finally might be getting held accountable.
I don't know.
I don't know, but this is the biggest chance that, I see a lot of people coming out. I see celebrities coming out and like, calling for him to be held accountable for the mismanagement of these fires. And, I think his chances of becoming president have become near impossible. And it's his own doing. And I think people in swing states in 2028, when they think about California, they're going to think about a homeless guy with his pants down swinging around a machete. And 40 years ago in a swing state, if you were to think about California, you thought about the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
And that's because of Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
And they're going to decide the election just like they decide every election. And they're not going to be sold Gavin Newsom. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So we're watching a man's dream disintegrate live on television right now.
Even the recent, as we're recording, it's coming out that LA City Council is now trying to already rezone Altadena so that they can build. I'm like, oh, good thing you didn't prove all the conspiracy theorists right, that this was just a land grab to make these 15-minute cities in advance of 2028 Olympics. Like, they are already rezoning, and people, the houses are still smoldering. This is, it's, I don't know. I don't understand. This is like, you also took all of these single homes that all these people were house rich. And so you're just taking, in many instances, Black wealth away, and you're calling it progressive. Like, it's fucking psycho. People need to like call this shit out. I hope people start. I'm not optimistic. You shouldn't have had to have your entire life burned to the ground in order to see what a mismanaged clusterfuck LA, and to the greater extent California, has become. San Francisco, that used to be a beautiful city. Yeah,
I think it's one of the greatest cities in the world.
Yeah.
It is.
It was a shining jewel.
Well. I mean, it's doing a lot better than it was 2 years ago, but yeah, it has a lot of problems.
Yeah. I don't think like anyone looking at California and going, how do we make more of America like this?
Yeah, it ain't going to happen.
Like
it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Gavin Newsom.
I am not.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I will.
Yeah, I'm not sorry, actually, but I'm just letting you know. I think that dream is, for lack of a better term, burning up right now.
What do you think they need to do more of in California? Like the things that really worked for you when you were getting sober, aside from, the kind of long-term rehab treatment center that you went to.
Yeah.
What other policies or things that you think are really destructive to the people who are living on the streets?
Well, I think, when I got sober in 2018, the things were a little bit better economically. I think the fact that like the middle class has essentially been destroyed, and like, Gavin's like adding another tax to gas, gas is going to go up to another 60 cents or something like that. Deregulate a little bit, lower taxes. That's a big ask, but like make life. I bought a car for $1,200 when I got sober, and gas was $3.20.
Mm-hmm.
A car right now, would be $5,000. Life is just a lot more difficult, and it's a lot harder to get on your feet. In the name of progressivism, all these policies has just like destroyed any chance of class mobility or getting rising up, So I'm a middle class maximalist. I think every policy should be geared towards growing the middle class, because the middle class exponentially grows upon itself. The more people that have disposable income will then feed it back into the economy and create more jobs. And every progressive, or even I could say liberal policy, destroys that.
Yeah.
So,
well, communism does hate the middle class.
Well, the middle class is very dangerous.
Yeah, they're too free
to points of power. So, so that's one aspect. Another aspect I would say is reinforce the law. That'd be good. I think. I don't think it's fair. Like in places like Oakland, people that lived in the hood and didn't have that many options and all that. It was always not great in some of these poorer places. And then the fact that they've just decriminalized crime. Now you have like 14 and 15-year-olds shooting people and like robbing people at gunpoint and getting no repercussions for it.
Right.
Getting put on like like a program where you have to like go after school to learn about how you shouldn't shoot people. And there's no punishment for not going to that class. I mean, there's people that have murdered people in Oakland and they aren't going to prison. That's not fair to these people. You know, that actually only encourages people to continue to commit crimes that otherwise may have stayed in school and maybe gotten a really good scholarship to go to Cal Berkeley or something and had a career. So just the complete flipping of incentivization in the state would help everybody, but it would greatly help people trying to get off drugs and getting off the streets.
But doesn't it feel, because one of the reasons that I left was the disdain that I felt as a just law-abiding taxpayer from the state and the city council and the governor. I've never seen anything like it. Why do they hate normal people just living their lives? And it's really wild to me.
Yeah, no, you are the enemy of the state. If you are paying your taxes and you're following the law, you are the enemy, and you will be punished to the greatest extent of the law. Whereas if you are just like a criminal, nothing happens. And I know that people say that's an exaggeration, but like, listen, in Oakland, you don't have to have a license plate. You don't have to register your car, you know? But if you do register your car and you follow the rules, you'll get a parking ticket.
Right.
You know, or you could just not follow any laws and get no punishment at all. And, you know, you go rob houses and drive away and have your license plate blacked out or whatever, or no license plate, no punishment. But if someone attacks you and you fight back, you're going to prison.
Why?
Extreme incompetence, extreme ineptitude. I don't really buy like the conspiracy angle where it's like this is a controlled demolition of a functioning society. There's just no purpose. I just think 2020 we lost our minds in response to certain events, and we went mad for 5 years.
Yeah,
and it's just the extreme like kowtowing to like the extreme minority with the loudest voices, and this whole performative. It's just everything's performative. Everyone's running at the like the seat of their pants just to get to the next stop on like the political elevator to the next place in government, and no one has foresight, and we are governed by absolute loser failures.
Yeah.